We're talking about adding excitement to this
Yeah.
season. Hmm. Maybe
Mm.
maybe send more photographers out there. In fact, do it in the middle of the race. Why not? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Revved Up podcast. Thank you for joining us wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe, rate and review us. My name is Marwan Osman. I'm joined by the one and only Edgar O'Neill. Edgar, what's going on, man?
You know, disappointment. Disappointment.
Disappointing.
I'm starting off on that note. Yeah.
And
A lot
we
was built up for this weekend.
we did kind of hype this up in our preview video, but we
Good
will
stuff.
we will talk all about that. For now, I want to start off by recognizing, celebrating, acknowledging
Hmm.
the the man himself, the king of the streets, Sergio Perez, for having just an incredible race weekend.
Yeah, all weekend.
Yeah, what did you think of his performance overall?
Amazing. Um, and I speaking of the weekend, I thought it was really funny when they were doing the post-race interviews. And they were like, "Hey, you've won two races here," and he was like, "Two and a half." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
you let it be known. You let it be known,
Yeah,
Checo."
he give him that half,
Yeah.
but no, Sergio put on just an absolutely insane performance this weekend,
Yeah.
and just starting to creep up on Max on those in those standings.
Yeah, because
You know,
even Max
um,
was trailing behind him, right?
yeah, he looked really dominant. That battle is there, but we'll hold off on that.
Yeah.
It's only four races in, and it also feels a little disingenuous to say I want to start by celebrating Sergio and immediately go to Sergio versus Max, but
Oh
no. So
yeah.
yeah, just an absolutely insane performance from Sergio this weekend. He's becomes the first driver to win back multiple races at Baku,
Mhm.
which to me is no small accomplishment at all. This is a pretty unpredictable track, even though yeah, we'll talk about this in a second. It was a fairly uh, boring race, but history has shown us this to be an unpredictable track, and Sergio being the first winner here to have multiple wins at Baku is a pretty great accomplishment for him. So overall, where do you think things go from here for old Sergio, the king of the streets?
I mean, what's the next one?
We got
I It's Miami, right? Yeah,
mhm,
which is another street circuit. So
kind of
kind of,
street
yeah.
circuit. It feels like
Yeah.
a, a track.
Um, so I kind of want to wait to Miami, but I mean, he's in contention now, right?
He's got to be.
Yeah.
And honestly, if he does come away with another win in Miami, it's Red Bull will have some decisions to make because right now they cater to Max's every whim as they should. He's
Yeah.
the most dominant driver that we have currently on the grid, but you have another driver right here going toe to toe with him, and the idea of this being a Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton type of situation was
Ooh.
brought up, but it still felt a little too early, and we're still only
Yeah.
four races into this season,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it still feels a little bit too early. But no, good for Sergio. He's earned that nickname, King of the Streets,
King of the
um,
streets, king of the sheets.
King of the Sheets. I don't think anyone calls him that
I bet
except
his
for
wife
you.
does.
But no, the man is he's earned that nickname, and just a bigger picture look at Sergio. His growth has actually been really impressive, starting with Force India, Sauber, and
Hmm.
moving up from there whenever they went broke, and
Yeah.
eventually went to Racing Point, and now at Red Bull. Every team that he's moved on to, he seems to have stepped up his game a little bit, and now he's at his peak,
Yeah.
honestly, here with Red Bull. So good for him for putting on a show this weekend.
I'd be happy with a WC for him.
I think we're
WDC.
all.
Yeah.
I can't say we're rooting for it because we are impartial analysts.
I said I'd be happy.
Oh,
I'd be happy.
you're right.
I'd be happy if Lando got it.
Okay, would you be happy if Max Verstappen got it?
No.
Okay. No, but no, I am generally just happy for Sergio because he's just a really easy driver to root for, and he has shut up all of the critics who anyone who was saying that his seat was in trouble, anyone who was even flirting with the idea of Daniel Ricciardo coming in and replacing him in the season. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you. I was one of those people, so shame on me too.
Yeah, no,
But
no,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
feel it.
But still, nah, he's shut up all the doubters, and there's really nothing you can say for now. We'll see
Yeah.
how it's like. I keep saying this because it's worth repeating.
What
Four
race?
races. We got about 19 of these left, so you know
Wow. Yeah.
we are just now scratching the surface on this young F1 season.
Yeah.
But you can't let that take away anything from Sergio did. He just flat outperformed Max. Now there was some odd timing there with the safety car coming in. It affected the pit strategy there. It ended up benefiting. It ended up working out in his favor, right? So he ended up in the lead, and he never really gave that up afterwards. So things did work out for him. They kind of acknowledged that at the end there. With Christian Horner saying a
Yeah.
bit of luck went his way, which I'm sure Sergio appreciates. But
Yeah.
no, that's overall just a great weekend for Sergio. But no, we got ourselves an entertaining rest of the season, I think, to look forward to. Is it crazy to say that after 4 races that we are only four, that it's still early, but now I'm starting to have some optimism that we may get a little competition going
I
forward.
don't, I don't think that's crazy because even there were certain performances, again, not a super exciting race, but certain performances bode well for the rest of the season. Like McLaren did pretty good.
About it's no longer as much fun to talk about McLaren.
Mhm.
When they were bad and I could just laugh.
Yeah.
I can no longer do that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I get to smile.
Well, we'll just not talk about them
Okay.
until
Something happens.
until something happens that allows us to laugh at them. But overall, so you did hint at this. You felt like it was a disappointing race, and I have
Yeah.
to agree with you. Can you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah. Well, I got worried because we did also in our last podcast kind of hype it up. Well, really, we hyped up sprint. We hyped up the sprint, which was entertaining. You
Mm.
had the Russell Verstappen little drama. Um, and honestly, for me, that was the most exciting part of the weekend. So sprint race exciting, race itself just boring. Like so I recorded it. Here's my little anecdote.
Mhm.
I recorded the race. Obviously, it's very early. And I opened up Instagram at one point, I think around like lap 30, and the first post was the standings of 1 through 10. And like I looked at the standings and then I looked at my screen at lap 30 and it was like exactly the same. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, 20 more laps then. 20 more laps. Yeah.
Yeah, it was overall an uneventful race as a whole. We got the early safety car, but after that, nothing really transpired. I think it was we got some interesting battles here and there. With Lewis Hamilton was attacking Carlos Sainz for a little bit and
Mhm.
kind of going back and forth there, but he was overall just not able to make the finishing moves. Kind of surprising, honestly. We did hype this up,
Yeah.
right? And normally we don't end up, we're not wrong very often on
No,
this
no, we
podcast.
are not.
Not very often at all. Uh, I'm sure. Don't look at our podium predictions. That
Oh
don't
yeah.
look at those. I think Yuki Tsunoda was in there for one of us. Well, we won't go. We won't dive into that. But no, we are often not wrong here. But this was a surprisingly boring race. Baku, as it's formatted with those twists and turns, it does lead to some unpredictability with the race itself, but it does make it hard to overtake.
Hmm.
You have those long straights, which Red Bull loves. They could just cruise on past anyone really that's in front of them. But we've seen the other cars kind of struggle with overtaking. It's been I wonder if the FIA is also taking note of that, because that they love the overtakes, they love the drama, they want it for us, which I
Hmm.
can appreciate. It doesn't always work out. Oh, by the way, we're gonna talk about the
Yeah.
FIA a little later.
Yeah.
But no, they are trying to manufacture some excitement into this sport with new rules and regulations. But we're not all the way there yet. And the
Hmm.
Baku Grand Prix was another example of that. Uh, what did you think of the new format in general, just with the sprint race being on Friday or the sprint race being on Saturday,
Yeah.
qualifying being on Friday, just having these two separate events really?
I mean, I think it's cool-ish. I don't know. For some reason, I just worry, like, not even worry about the drivers, but like, I do feel bad for the drivers because it's like you're just throwing more shit for them to do. Like, maybe just let them focus on the race.
Yeah, and they were complaining about it, which for good measure. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure they don't like change.
because
Change is a scary thing.
yeah, I don't know if it's comparable, but like if football, like if the NFL, like before a game, just had like a 50-yard little scrimmage between the two teams.
Oh God, don't give them any ideas.
Yeah, like
It,
what would that be for?
oh man, but no, not to make this about me, but it made it pretty difficult as someone who was traveling to keep up with the events of the weekend.
Hmm.
Normally I could get by, on missing free practice, maybe
Yeah,
even missing qualifying on Saturday, but having first you got qualifying, you got to watch the free practice for the race, you got to watch, the qualifying for the sprint race and the sprint race itself. It was a lot to keep track of. So the FIA was not thinking of my travel schedule, and
no.
I honestly I don't get it. Why not?
When did you hear about the sprint race results?
Um, when I got back on Sunday,
Okay.
I was so I was gone for about 4 days there.
So
Um,
did the Russell Verstappen news hit you like hard?
did it hit me hard, like emotionally? Did I have an emotional
Yeah, kind of
reaction to it?
emotionally, but also like because I guess because everything on Saturday was like blowing up about it.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Uh,
so like I was getting like it like as it happens, but you were on a delay. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
intrigued how that felt.
It is always weird getting F1 news on a bit of delay, because there is a lot of hoopla around these events as they're unfolding, and I'm sure there was a lot of drama about it. But for me, I just read it and I was like, oh, they had a
Okay,
little scuffle, and then I moved on. So
gotcha.
yeah, it's pretty interesting to see actually. But yeah, I wish I got to take part in that. It sounds like it would have been exciting, but I mean, looking back at it now, it wasn't. There really
Yeah,
wasn't a whole lot there to it. And I'm
yeah.
not saying that just because of how I experienced it, but it just seemed like, hey, they brushed up against each other. Max felt a little upset by it, and you know,
Princess George. Yeah.
is oh man, is he coming up with the nicknames like Trump starts? That would be great.
Oh
I
my
would
god.
I would love for Max Verstappen to take that heel turn and
Yeah,
just go full villain on the other drivers.
that
But
would that is true. We don't. There's no Trump personality in F1 right now, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing.
none that we know of, I will
Mhm.
say.
So I feel like
Um,
Bottas can pull it out soon. The way he's going.
n- oh man, we'll talk about it. We should talk about
We,
Bottas.
we
What
need to
what?
do a deep dive on him.
Yeah, honestly, maybe if we'll get to that, or maybe a separate video. But we don't know who Logan Sargent really is. I mean,
Yeah, they
we
just happen to
also
share blood.
we we also don't know where he was on January 6th. But still, uh, it's up in the air. Hey, home race for Logan Sargent, by the way, coming up. I'm just glad we got another one coming right up here in a
Yeah,
week, because
even though it's
Baku
Miami.
Baku as a whole didn't give us a whole lot to talk about. But
Yeah. Well, I'm not super excited for Miami. I feel like
if
last year was pretty rough.
if last year is any indication, it'll be a little rough. But hey, 3:30 start time. That's nice at least.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
need that. Um, but so going forward, we talked about we got to experience this new format. Are you looking forward to it going forward, or would you like to see FIA make some changes here.
Can I plead agnostic?
You are you absolutely can. You
Yeah.
are wholly indifferent to the idea of sprint races and
Yeah.
just you're not
I'm
like
being
Max
told each
Verstappen.
way.
You don't want them to all just go away and go back to just the normal way of doing things.
No, because I like again. I think I described it in the last podcast. It's a nice little sweet treat.
Yeah. Um it is nice every once in a while, but that's not how the FIA sees things.
Yeah, I feel like it was built too much this weekend. You know what? Okay, yeah, I'll say it. I don't like the new format.
Okay. Fair
Yeah,
fair enough. I finally got you to
yeah,
pick
yeah.
a side.
You got me to take a
No
stance.
no more being Switzerland. You finally chose a side here.
Yeah,
Um,
no to the sprint
yeah,
race,
let's dive into these first the race standings themselves. Obviously we saw the podium of Perez, Verstappen, and Leclerc.
which we
Uh,
did call Perez winning it, right?
um, so I had Verstappen, Perez, and Leclerc. So I got Leclerc right at least.
Okay.
Let's talk about his performance again. It's at least he finished. This is
Mhm.
kind of what we've expected from him all season. So it's nice of him to show up, making those of us who not to sound angry, those of us that predicted him to win the championship. No salt there at all for him for showing up here, fending off Fernando Alonso, who was starting to creep up on him.
Yeah,
Honestly, was if the race was a little bit longer, you would have been sweating it out. But no, that was our podium.
it's
Uh,
what Taylor's love can do to you.
I I wholly agree with that statement. But no, it's a podium that we have seen before. Maybe not in this order as often, but Ferrari, Red Bull, two of them. What should be the two of the most dominant teams here. Ferrari is still finding their way. I think is this race maybe an indicator of things to come for Ferrari.
Knock on wood. Hopefully,
I would agree that well no, so I would say that
thinks it.
well, no, I'm not here to root for Ferrari or anything. I,
Okay.
I I do like being right, but I do think they have shown that a lot of what they can accomplish just comes down to staying out of their own way. If if the drivers and the team can actually execute the plans that they set out, consistent top five finishes should be expected. Honestly, it's. I know the car itself isn't where they want it to be right now, but they've shown that they can overcome that. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, for what it's worth, are two great drivers. I know. Well, Charles Leclerc is a great driver.
Wow.
Carlos Sainz is
Wow.
a good driver. Okay,
Carlos Sainz is a great driver.
and we can disagree on that.
If he's in F1, he's a great driver.
I guess if compared to me,
Yep.
sure. I did get on that F1 simulator on my cruise, by the way.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
newfound respect, for all of these drivers, except I felt like Nicholas Latifi on that thing. Just
Ooh.
just the
Oh,
way
that's rough.
it just instantly spinning out. But
Mm.
yeah, no, they make this thing look a lot easier than it really is. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, so, what did you think of your boy? Well, I think our boy, Lewis Hamilton. Uh,
Oh,
we like Lewis here.
yeah,
Overall, a ho hum performance from him. I would say
yeah.
he fell 2 spots. I'd say, or no, he fell 1 spot.
Mhm.
Unlucky with the pit stop. Anything to say about Lewis?
Nothing.
Wow,
I mean,
this race absolutely is giving us nothing, huh?
yeah, it was just right down the middle. It
Yeah,
was. I think I texted you that. I think it was Crofty at one point. While they were like commenting on the race, they were like, "Yup," and that was another good talk about strategy, which probably gives you an indication of the action happening on
but
track.
it's never a good sign when the announcers are more entertaining than
Yeah,
the race itself, or when the radio calls and the interviews are more entertaining. But
yeah,
that is kind of what we got this week, unfortunately.
yeah. It's gonna happen. I mean, we're gonna get some great races. We're gonna get some more of these because we got
Definitely.
how many to go?
Maybe we just have to recalibrate our expectations because whenever we seem to expect a good race, we end up getting a boring one. And whenever we expect a boring race, we end up with a pretty good one. I wasn't expecting much out of Australia, and that turned out to
Yeah,
be the best race of the season so far. So, hey, you never really know.
maybe we should just keep our ways and be aware of it
Wow.
because
That was
though to be,
a,
or we recognize the power that we have because I did put Yuki on the podium and then and then
and
some things happened.
and he finished 10th. He got in the points. Good
He
for
did get in
Yuki.
the points. Okay,
Yeah.
I brought him that. That was because of me.
But no, I was really enthralled by where you were going with that. You're sounding a little, like Buddhist monk type. We have to look within
Oh,
and
we do.
recognize our power. I was not sure where this was going, but yeah,
Hmm.
I'm sure there was something to what you just said.
Yeah, we recognize our power.
Back to the standings here. Um, the honestly the most surprising thing about this race was the 18 cars that finished.
Mhm.
Um, no, not really something I'd expect out of Baku. I think it was six in 2021, and maybe five last year. We'll fact check that later. But no, 18 cars finished. Only two of them got lapped, so that's something.
Yeah.
Um, but we kind of did allude to this. Valtteri Bottas, wow,
Yeah,
what a race for him! Of all the races he's had, this was certainly one of them.
yeah. Um, I mean, and I don't think it's AlphaTauri's fault. I'll say that.
The
I'll just leave it there.
you know,
They'll put that dish out. You can
you
eat it
don't
if you want.
look. It is kind of, I don't want to say it's sad to see because he chose this life, right? But he has left Mercedes and kind of just disappeared from the discourse in general. He was providing us with some memes during the off season. That was nice. We appreciate that. We
Yeah,
appreciate entertainment in the off season with his little mustache and his
mullet.
mullet. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So thank you for that, Bottas. But I mean, come on, man, get some points. I
Yeah,
don't know. No,
drive.
it's. I think he was at like 3 pit stops at what, like 20 laps into this. So yeah,
Maybe it was the AlphaTauri then.
Alfa Romeo.
Oh, fuck me. All right, well then you're gonna have to put an egg on my face, like from 2 minutes ago.
Uh huh. Yep. Well, look, he's. I mean, Alfa Romeo, Alpha Tauri. At this point, what's the difference?
Yeah,
I don't know. Which is, I mean, that kind of speaks to Alfa Romeo
yeah,
themselves. Last year we were talking about Alfa Romeo. They had a great start to the season, and things kind of just fell apart entirely in the latter half of the season. And in our preview video, we talked about them. We said, "What are we going to get out of Alfa Romeo? Do we get the team that finished the season lose with DNFs pretty much every other race, or the team that had the strong start?" And it looks like we've got our answer here.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
with Joe and Bottas not really giving us a whole lot to work with here.
No,
But
they're the back markers now.
uh, my oh my,
Hmm.
how the mighty have well, how the slightly above average have fallen.
Yeah,
But no, we alluded to this. Let's talk about this debacle, this hootenanny,
pit lane. Yeah,
um, fiasco. I'm trying to find the
or
appropriate.
buckle.
I saw chaos. I feel like chaos was a little too high, but
Yeah,
I mean, I guess if you think about it, people did kind of just almost get run over by a car.
yeah,
But
they could
let's,
have died.
yeah, man, huh? Wow.
But also, like, what I'm upset about is that it really, like, they're talking like, oh, we need to put in these regulations and stuff to prevent this from happening again. You shouldn't have let it happen. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm upset about.
it's honestly funny because this does seem like it's been a focal point of the FIA recently, is stopping people from running onto the pit lane, and
Mhm.
then here we have just people strolling out there pretending like the race is finished.
Yeah,
And in comes Esteban Ocon for the last minute pit. I'm wondering what was going on through Ocon's mind there as he
yeah,
turns that corner and just sees a crowd of people. Uh, Luckily, he didn't treat them like the barriers and go right through
yeah,
them. But yeah, the disaster averted, but that's honestly not good enough for the FIA here. I want to see if they just go full tilt, full hard line here, and just I don't know, lock up the garage.
maybe.
No more people in the barriers in the pit lane unless you absolutely have to be there. Uh,
Yeah,
that that would be a little extreme for them,
or
honestly.
at least until I mean, so they said that, they let him do it because for the timing, so that they can get to the podium in time. Nah, wait till all the cars are parked and then
Yeah.
let them. I feel like
Mhm.
that's fine.
And
Also, like, who's that for? It's so that we can see the podium on the TV. We don't really need that. Like, we
man,
know who won the race.
just imagine the fallout if one of those drivers or if one of those photographers
Got hit.
personnel didn't have the reaction time or was faced the wrong way. Man, the first of all the optics. I hate to use the lawyer phrase here of the
Mhm.
optics. You know, someone getting hit by. Of course, someone getting run over by a Formula
Yeah.
One car would have bad optics.
Of
But
course, of
man,
course.
I guess it depends on who you ask. Some people might say that person deserved it, but we are not those people.
Or
Um,
that no press is bad press.
Actually, there might be something to that. You, we're talking about adding excitement to this
Yeah.
season. Hmm. Maybe send more photographers out there. In fact, do it in the middle of the race. Why not? I
They
don't.
really want to get the shot.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the pit stops themselves need a little juice sometimes. Why not? You know,
Well,
have
have you seen? There is a video of a Ferrari pit stop, where the dude's leg gets run over, and then it completely goes behind.
hmm.
So great.
That sounds unpleasant. There was one. There's been a couple of instances where the drivers come in and they knock back the guy lifting the car up. I know
Yeah,
Lewis did that recently with his
yeah,
guy, but no, they always end up fine. That would be a little different than coming into the pits because even though they look like they're driving slow in the pit lane, they are not.
yeah,
So yeah, disaster averted by Ocon and those people that were there. Good sidestep. I saw a couple of moves there that I was like, oh wow,
yeah, yeah. I
that's
did
a
say.
nice little sidestep there. You know, it's pretty impressive, honestly.
I will say it was also interesting hearing the commentary before it happened,
Yeah,
because the
mhm.
commentators were like, "People are rushing into the pit lane, but Ocon needs to," and they kept that part was actually pretty
that actually
cool. In
that
yeah,
actually built it up for me. I was like, oh man, what's going
yeah,
on here? I was kind of on the edge of my seat here, trying to see what was happening here, and then they showed the clip of the people just dashing away, and man, I hate to say this, but hey, it had a little bit of excitement for us. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should have like some cardboard cutouts so drivers can practice in the future. That's you know, put some cardboard cutouts of people, have them
but
zigzag around. I don't know.
like in the police stations when they do the
Yeah,
test.
exactly. Logan Sargent would just plow right through them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know why I took that parting shot at him. He didn't
Yeah.
deserve
No.
that. Yeah, he didn't deserve that. I'm sure Logan Sargent is a great guy. We don't know
Mm,
where he was on January 6th. Ladies and gentlemen, this was another episode of the Revved Up podcast. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe. We will see you all shortly, actually, less than a week until race day.
yeah. Adios. I don't like Nick DeVries.